Have you ever met anyone that is just so unaware of their surroundings, of their environments, of other people's emotions, of their own reactions? That's what I want to talk to you all about today. Emotional ignorance. We hear all the time about emotional intelligence and EQ and EI. But what about emotional ignorance? Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Community Solutions Podcast, the only podcast that's inspiring leadership and humanity within and beyond the workplace. It is so good to be with you all today. As I've been preparing and updating a speech that I'll be delivering soon and have been, I just wanted to talk about the opposite side of it. So, yes, we could talk about emotional intelligence all day, but let's talk about the ignorance of it. Now, I know ignorance is a strong word, right? But I want to read the definition of it because I was thinking about ignorance and I was thinking about ignoring. Are they the same? What's the difference? So let me give you a brief definition of what ignorance is described in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It says the state or fact of being ignorant, the lack of knowledge, education, or awareness. So that means that they just lack that insight, that they lack that knowledge. They have no idea. They are unaware. Okay. Now to ignore is to refuse to take notice of. So when I'm speaking about emotional ignorance, I'm not saying that they are blatantly disregarding. I'm saying that they have no idea of, they are unaware. And so it's two totally different things. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So usually in my speeches, I usually break it down into 4 areas. It could be 5, but basically 4 areas. And the first, what I've noticed is that people who are emotionally ignorant, and when I say that, I mean this is all the time. They have no idea. It's not just at work. It's not just with a certain person. It's not just in certain environments. This is just who they are. And it's based off of their experiences growing up, how they were raised. I mean, Daniel Gorman talks about emotional intelligence starting at the age of 2. It could be started at the age of 2. But if you're looking on Facebook and you see twins who are being born and you see one of them crying, they're still at the hospital, and one of them's crying and the other one will stick their thumb in their sibling's mouth in order to pacify them. And so I would consider that some type of emotional intelligence. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I am going off of what I perceive, right? So it's something that they feel that they're able to sense someone else's need. And I would call that emotional intelligence. So I would say it starts prior to the age of 2. But some of these people are able to go in a room and just have no idea of what's going on. They could be walking in a room and they're unable to recognize that a fight just broke out or that there's tension in the room because it's always about them. They don't see anything else but themselves. And then they don't even dig into them that much. They really don't understand how they're wired. They just are. They're just present. They're just doing them. There's no regard of anyone else in that vicinity. How do you see yourself? It is so important for us to be self-aware. When you walk in the room, what do you think people see? What do you want to be? Who do you want? How do you want to be seen? What do you feel when you walk in the room? Or do you not even care? Are you the one that sets the tone? There are some people out there, some personalities who want to be the limelight, want to be the showstopper, want to be the one who sets it off. And some of them may not even know that that's what they're doing. Who are you? And that's what it comes down to. Understanding who you are, what triggers you, and the perception that you have of others' needs. Do you even seek them out? Do you even notice them? Imagine if we all had some type of concern about how someone else was feeling, what someone else was going through. Having that empathy, what would the world be like today? And this is exactly why I do what I do. This is exactly why I go into corporations, I go into the communities, I go into nonprofits and share the message of unity. And unity is not just about everybody getting along. I'm a bridge builder. I bring people together. I'm able to see where the pain points are. I'm able to identify the root causes. I don't know why. I believe that's one of my gifts. I recognized it when I was a server. I recognized that I had a gift of being able to see other people's needs and identify them and serve them as I was a server at a restaurant in California while I was in school. And being a server, you don't get paid that much. It's all about tips, right? But tips wasn't my motivation, but I knew that if I could please my customers, then that would directly impact me, right? But it came naturally. That's something that I realized later. I was just being me. I was treating them how I wanted to be treated. And I speak about that all the time. That's something that I do. It's wrong to expect it from others because you'll be sadly mistaken. But that's what I do. So in California, they don't serve you sweet tea. They serve you unsweetened tea. If you want it sweetened, you have to open up the package. You have to open it and put it in your tea. If I'm a server and I constantly come over there and refill your tea when it's halfway full, or you've only taken 5 sips from it, that means that you have to stop your conversation or stop your eating or your reading or whatever you're doing at this restaurant and continue to add more sugar. I know that's an inconvenience. I understand that in that environment, it is not beneficial for me to continuously coming over for your refills. Now, if you're drinking a soda, if you're drinking water, yes, I'll come over and top your glass off because I understand the needs. If I see 2 people having an intimate conversation or they're talking low, they're having a confidential information, I know they don't want me over there that often. I will glance over there, look and see what their needs are, and just drop it off. So that way they don't have to wave me down. They don't have to shush me away because I am, bombarding them with visiting their table. So it's really, again, it's really about understanding the needs of others, not just yourself, not just being self-centered and only concerned about your own needs. What is it that you're saying? How are you delivering your message? How are you communicating? Are you thinking about how the other person feels? Do you talk to everyone the same way, or do you truly understand the people you're around? Do you truly, and it doesn't mean that you're changing who you are, but what you are doing is you are becoming more effective. You are managing relationships. You are meeting them where they are. You are understanding them. If you go and talk to your your 5-year-old, I would assume you would not be talking to them the same way you're talking to your 15-year-old. The language changes, the delivery changes, your tone changes, your expectations change. How they speak to you is different. How you receive that information is different. What is it that you need to improve on? How are you emotionally ignorant? Where is it that you lack? Are you, when you come home from a long day's work, are you able to see that your child had a bad day? Do you see their mannerisms changing? Do you see their frustration when you talk about this one particular thing? And then you wonder why they're upset. This is all about emotional intelligence. And when you lack it, it is emotional ignorance. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's at home, whether it's in the community, it's everywhere. It is everywhere. And it's one thing for someone to be so self-aware and so aware of others and to come into contact with someone who has none of that. And so what happens? That person who does have those emotional skills has to look at that other person and say, oh, okay, you don't know. You don't even know what you're doing. You are blind to the fact that whatever it is. So we have to extend grace. We have to extend empathy. We have to dig down deeper and say, oh, I wonder what caused this. I wonder what happened in their childhood to make them act like this. And so it goes down a rabbit hole. And this is me thinking about it. This is me trying to figure out, because why argue with someone who just really doesn't get it? At some point, you have to recognize that, okay, they're not there. They lack this. Is it a skill that can be learned? Absolutely. Absolutely. I even created these conversation cards that helps people listen to each other, understand each other, hear from different perspectives, and be able to have deeper conversations where there's no judgment. And that's what has to happen, because if you approach the person and complain or nitpick, it doesn't resolve itself. It doesn't get any better. There has to be some welcoming, some understanding, some invitation. Who is it that you know? As I'm speaking, who is it that comes to mind? Would you say that someone who is at work and brings a tuna sandwich and eats at their desk, would you say that they're concerned about the people around them? Do you think they even thought about it? Maybe they didn't consider it. What do you think? There's certain scenarios like that that really makes you think about that. Again, I'm no psychologist, sociologist. I'm not any of that. This is just the way my mind works. I need us all. We all have room for improvement. We all have blind spots. You know what one of my blind spots is when it comes to emotional intelligence? But the thing is that I'm aware of it. I do it anyway sometimes, but I catch myself in the middle because I'm aware of it. When I am listening to someone tell me something, a story, an experience, whatever it is, and I'm into it, and it feels like I'm there, I get so excited and I start talking with them. I'm not trying to cut them off, but I'm almost maybe finishing their sentence or saying I agree or something to that effect. And I have to catch myself because that's not being emotionally intelligent. That's not being an active listener. Me cutting someone else off, even though I'm excited and I'm engaged and I'm all into the story, that's not what the other person wants. That happened to me just last week. I was talking to someone and it was actually business related. And I found myself kind of almost talking over him at some point. And I just had to stop and back away. And after the end, when he was done, I could say, I totally agree. I totally agree. You said it better than me. Emotional intelligence when it comes to yourself is not only being aware of yourself and knowing what you like, but also being able to manage that, being able to not get triggered. When someone gets you upset, not allowing it to, as they say, allow you to crash out. Sometimes you have to have that pause. Sometimes you have to take that breath because you're aware of what's going on. We have to slow down in our responses. We have to slow down when it comes to teams, working in teams, even not even just at work, but with your neighbors. Do you understand the dynamics? Do you even know your neighbors? Do you know when they leave the house? Are they early birds or are they night owls? Should you be cutting the grass at that time? Does it bother them? Not saying that you have to cater to everybody's needs, but are you aware? Are you aware? Are you aware and do you care? You cannot lead a team if you don't care. You cannot earn someone's respect if you don't show appreciation, if you don't show that you're listening and and you're there for their best interest. You support them. You respect them even. Emotional ignorance. Is there someone at your job that's always typing in all caps, typing in, exclamation marks, typing in bold? And maybe they speak the same way. It may not be ignorance. It may not be a lack of knowledge. Maybe that's not their concern. Maybe that's not their priority. When does a conversation need to be had? Are you open to it? Do you have to have the last word? What is your body language? And so much of this can be all misunderstood. If you're not a morning person and you're the type of person that always needs coffee before you have any kind of interaction, you're the type that says, let me go get my cup of coffee real quick before I get the day started. If somebody approached you before you had that cup of coffee, there might be a slight misunderstanding. They may not understand your mannerisms. They may not understand your tone or your attitude. But that can be easily corrected. That could be easily, tended to later. And especially with management, it's so important for your team to understand you. If you hire someone on your team, it's important that there's a conversation of how you speak, what you expect. Are you direct? I'm direct. I say exactly what I need. It's not in a strong tone. It's not in a disrespectful manner. But I was raised to say what I want or what I need. And not everyone is used to that, especially with people who grew up without a father figure, who has that strong voice, who has that strong delivery. Even if I'm listening to myself, I've always thought I've had a strong voice. When my children were growing up, I had to tell them, I'm not yelling at you, I'm explaining. So it's very important to have that open dialogue. Are you open to open conversations? Open dialogue. Are you listening to truly understand, or are you only getting sound bites in order for you to come back later with something else? It's like offense, defense. It's your turn. Okay, it's my turn. Okay, it's your turn. No, where is understanding? Okay, I can hear where you're coming from. I can see how you got to that and still disagree with you. And that's okay. But that communication, that open dialogue tells me how you got to that conclusion. Oh, okay. I see. Because this happened, you thought this, this, and this. That's not what happened. That's not what I intended, but I understand how you got there. We have to work on our emotional intelligence. Yes, there is AI. Yes, the workplace dynamics are changing, but we are still here. I had a whole episode about there's AI and then there's you and I. Even with all the technology going on, we are still here. We need to learn how to work together, how to communicate with each other, how to resolve problems, how to respectfully disagree, how to find common ground, and also how to go our separate ways. As a bridge builder, yes, I also build a bridge for you to have a nice day. Leave me be. Because that's a part of peace. That is a part of peace. I just wanted to get on here real quick and just to share that information with you and just give you something to think about. There is emotional intelligence, and there's also those who have the slightest awareness of it. And I would say they are emotionally ignorant, respectfully. Thank you for tuning in to the Kim Unity Solutions podcast. You have been listening to me, your host, Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experiences. You all be blessed. Until next time, bye-bye.